Welcome to Chromatic Roses, where a couple of Midwest women cultivate a community at the D&D table. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren, and I almost said I'm Caitie, but I'm not. This week in the Rosegarden, we are doing some more questioning. And by questioning, I mean you're questioning us, and we're answering you. It's time to ask the roses. Yay.
Okay. Yeah, we're answering some more of your questions today. I almost made a joke about what if we had been lying the whole time, and I'm Soren and you're Caitie. Like, what a crazy twist that would be.
No, I'm Caitie.
Surprise. Anyway, okay. So yeah, we're answering more of your questions today. We've got our typical buckets, but this time we've got kind of a miscellaneous bucket at the end that we're gonna get into. But we're going to start the first half of the episode with some mechanic and interpersonal questions. Just a reminder that if you have questions, you can send them in to chromaroses@gmail.com or DM us on social media with questions, and we will add them to this list that we have running where we every once in a while will answer them. So if you ever have a question, some advice you would like us to give you, could be a question of how to play, but it could also be like, am I the asshole style? Like, you tell us a scenario and we tell you our advice on it. Generally speaking,
go ahead.
Generally speaking, D&D though, don't ask me about your relationships.
Yeah. Unless it has to do with like D&D intersectionality, you know what I mean?
My boyfriend hit me in combat.
Sorry, it was our characters.
Does he still love me? I got polymorphed into a worm. Does he still love me?
Oh, wow. That sounds like the title to an anime. Polymorphed into a worm. Does he still love me?
Anyway. Okay.
That one time I got reincarnated as slime. Anybody?
We're going to start with mechanic questions first. So here we go. Jumping in. Hop 2. What has improved your quality of life at the table the most? Are you looking for the thing?
I'm looking around just to see, like, are there physical things? Like, because I have a lot of my stuff around me. So I'm looking for some visual cues, but I'm also picking my brain. First thing that jumped to mind for me is being comfortable with, or like getting over the fact that I, like, for lack of a better phrase, like, I'm a spreader. So like, I like to have all of my stuff with me. I like to have my sketchbook. I like to have my binder that has all my notes in it. If I need like multiple sets of dice, I like to have them all out. I am a big like floor sitter when we play D&D. So like, being totally okay with just like taking the space I want to on the floor, because I like having all my stuff easily accessible, is very helpful.
We should say that we don't play at a traditional table.
Yeah.
None of us really have dining room tables.
Oh, guess what?
What? Do you have one now?
We do now.
Oh, okay.
We inherited it from my mom, but nice. I'll show you pictures later.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't play at like a table.
We usually play at our friend Justin's living, like, or his apartment, and we just like pop a squat on his sectional or on the floor.
Giant couch.
So there is a table in that. There is a coffee table in the middle, but we don't play at a typical table. So yeah, there's some opportunity for taking up real estate that there might not be if we were all seated at a dining room table.
And I could make peace with that, but I would probably just condense how I spread everything out. But like, having room. Also, I think something that's improved my quality of life while playing D&D is like trying out new systems, or like trying out new tools that I normally wouldn't. Because it helps you figure out what you like and what you don't like. And yeah.
I think the thing that's helped my quality of life at the table the most, top thing, is having like one place for my notes. So like the very first campaign we played, I honest to God think I took notes on like the notes app of my phone.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. But it is, and this is less true now because of the updates that like Apple has made to their notes app. But it was just like text. It was just like text on a thing.
Yeah.
At one point in that campaign, Grant had made a place, and this is something now that I'm thinking about it that might be helpful for our group going forward.
Sure.
He made a Google Doc and he shared it with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so like as we took notes, or as he took notes, it was accessible to everyone. Everyone
sure.
could have that document up and could be adding to it or just watching, or they could go back and reread it before a session. And he even notated combat. So he would say like, so-and-so cast this, rolled this result. Like it was pretty
that's
and
like
he
a
had like
transcript at that point.
He had like color codes for each player and stuff like that. It was pretty intense. But what I have at this point for my note-taking needs is just a Notion document, and I have toggles for each of the dates.
Mm-hmm.
So I can still go back and read all of my notes, but they are I don't have to like flip through pages in order to get to it. So I think that's probably my biggest quality of life upgrade, is just having like one place that I take notes in. I think secondarily would probably be the online character sheet. I feel like I say that every single episode. We somehow work that in, but like the D&D Beyond is probably my biggest quality of life upgrade next to that. First campaign, I think it was just the first campaign that we had all paper character sheets. There's a time and place for that, and you can we've talked about this ad nauseum. You can put it in a sheet protector and use wet erase markers and stuff like that. There are ways around that. But that paper character sheet eraser, like that, compared to the online character sheet that can make level up adjustments for me, and that is always accessible via my laptop, is much more convenient to me than the paper version. I don't know. I guess like mindset wise, this is technically a mechanic question because I felt like it was kind of like physically what is updating or what is adding quality to your gameplay. Mindset wise, I think the thing that has improved my quality of life at the table, is just like, you know what? I was going to say one thing. I'm going to change my answer.
Okay.
Watching actual play. Watching other people do it.
Yeah.
Because I think you can watch your friends do it, and that is helpful. But there's like, I think, a level of comparative thinking that happens there. Like, Soren's really good at accents, and I can't do accents. So how am I ever going to be as good of a role player as she is? You know, like that kind of mindset can happen in like friends, like situation. But if you're watching an actual play, there's more of the like,
oh, I love that they made that choice. Or
I want to emulate that.
Yes. Yep.
And so you can kind of take whatever Laura Bailey does and see if you can try it out and like work on it that way. I think that has helped my game the most, is watching other people do it and emulating the choices they make at my own table.
That's great. I love that. I don't have anything to add. I just think you said it very well.
Great. Perfect. What's a magic item that you are dying, all caps, dying to use in a game?
I'm gonna have to think a little bit.
Well, so I'm pulling up a list of magic items because you know what I don't have? A working memory of the magic items.
What do you mean?
So when we pick magic items in our game, oftentimes it'll be like after a level up or something like that. And Sam will say, hey, go ahead and pick a magic item. Here's this, like, I forget the thing we usually use. Do you remember what the thing?
He usually, there's a specific list.
Yeah.
Shit you not, if I ask TJ, he'll probably know.
He would know, yeah. I'm sure it's in our messages somewhere too. But he usually gives us a list and he says, look at this list. It can be these rarities. So like common to rare or very rare or something like that. And then he says, and then read it, look at it, pick one out, and then tell me about it. And I'll let you know if that's
allowed.
If we're going to do that one in this game. So we don't do that super often. So I don't have a good working memory of.
I have 2 memories in this campaign that I've remembered we've done that.
Yeah. It's our campaigns are not magic item heavy. I'm still trying to find that list that he has. I found it. I'm gonna.
What is it?
Hold on. So
this thing.
Yeah.
Don John.
I'm gonna go ahead and filter out to legendary items because that's the stuff I'm dying to use, you know?
She's gonna come to the theater this afternoon to help out.
Are you trying to use that as persuasion?
No.
Roll a persuasion.
Unless.
Give me a dice. Give me a dice. This needs to be a short on the internet. So this morning, I told him that I was reminding him I'm going to be going to the theater this afternoon. I know you have Grant's D&D thing at 7. And I said, do you want to come with me to NCP? Because it's just costume sorting stuff. And we went back and forth and he was like, let me think about it. And I was like, okay. But then he walked in here and then I looked at him and said, Caitie's going to be going to the theater this afternoon. And he goes, is that you trying to persuade me? And I said, nope. Mm-mm. And he goes, make a persuasion.
Okay. He can't hear me. DC? Yeah.
10.
It's 50-50 chance.
18.
18. Looks like you're coming to the theater.
Guess I'll see you at 3.
Okay. We have got to get back to this.
Yeah. All right.
I didn't think about this too hard. I just let myself be drawn to whatever I was drawn to. So the universe picked this one. Staff of the Magi. It's a legendary item that requires attunement. You have to be a sorcerer, warlock, or wizard to use it. This staff can be wielded as a magic quarterstaff that grants a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it. While you hold it, you gain +2 to spell attack rolls. The staff has 50 charges for the following properties. It regains 4d6 +2 expended charges daily at dawn. If you expend the last charge, roll a d20. On a 20, the staff regains a 1d12 +1 charge. Spell absorption. While holding the staff, you have advantage on saving throws against spells. In addition, you can use a reaction when another creature casts a spell that targets only you. If you do, the staff absorbs the magic of the spell, canceling its effect and gaining a number of charges equal to the absorbed spell's level. So if somebody cast a 9th level disintegrate or whatever, and I absorbed it, I would get 9 charges back.
Then your ass is grass.
However, if doing so brings the staff's total of number of charges to 50, to above 50, the staff explodes. And as if you activated its retributive strike, which is down below. While holding the staff, you can use an action to expend some of its charges to cast one of the following spells. There's so many. 7 charges of Conjure Elemental. 3 charges of Dispel Magic. 7th level version, 7 charges of Fireball. 2 charges of Flaming Sphere. 4 charges of Ice Storm, 2 charges of Invisibility, 2 charges of Knock, 7th level version, 7 charges of Lightning Bolt, 5 charges of Pass Wall, 7 charges of Plane Shift, 5 charges of Telekinesis, 4 charges of Wall of Fire, 2 charges of Web. You can also use an action to cast one of the following spells from the staff without using any charges. Arcane Lock, Detect Magic, Enlarge Reduce, Light, Mage Hand, or Protection from Evil and Good. Retributive Strike. You can use
You're
it.
joking.
I'm not. You can use an action to break the staff over your knee or against a solid surface, performing a retributive strike. The staff is destroyed and releases its remaining magic in an explosion that expands to fill a 30-foot radius sphere centered on it. You have a 50% chance to instantly travel to a random plane of existence, avoiding the explosion. If you fail to avoid the effect, you take force damage equal to 16. It says A with a tilde over it. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
So 16. The number of charges in the staff. Equal to 16 plus maybe the numbers of charges in the staff. I don't know. Every other creature in the area must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes the amount of damage based on how far away from the point of origin, as shown in the following table. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage, and so on. It's a really fancy magic staff that I would like to use and forget how to use.
That I would like to have and immediately forget how to have.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That was so much information.
I mean, the legendary items are going to be kind of intense.
Well, I mean, I pulled up. Am I like not fully clicking into some of these? Because some of them still have like really short.
Oh, well, or I just picked the worst one. I mean, is possible.
I think you did. So the thing that I was drawn to is the cubic gate. It's a legendary wondrous item, and the cube is 3 inches across and radiates palpable magic energy. The 6 sides of the cubes are each keyed to a different plane of existence, one which is the material plane. The other sides are linked to planes determined by the game master. You can use an action to press one side of the cube to cast the gate spell with it, opening a portal to the planed key to that side. Alternatively, if you use an action to press one side twice, you can cast the plane shift spell. The save DC is 17 with the cube and transport the targets to the plane keyed to that side. The cube has 3 charges. Each use of the cube expends 1 charge. The cube regains 1d3 expended charges daily at dawn.
All right, cool.
So throw yourself, throw your friends, throw your enemies somewhere else.
I found one that's less intense that I would also like. It's a wondrous item, but it's only rare. It's not legendary. It's the Cloak of the Bat.
Okay.
It's Batman's cloak.
It's
While wearing this cloak, you have advantage on dexterity stealth checks. In an area of dim light or darkness, you can grip the edges of the cloak with both hands and use it to fly at a speed of 40 feet. If you ever fail to grip the cloak's edges while flying in this way, or if you are no longer in dim light or darkness, you lose this flying speed. While wearing the cloak in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to cast polymorph on yourself, transforming into a bat. While you are in the form of the bat, you can retain your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. This cloak can't be used in this way again until the next dawn.
I can see your notes for this item, like in your like short form handwriting, and one of the like clarifications is like sun comes up by flying.
Yeah, is Batman is no longer Batman. It makes me think What We Do in the Shadows, and I'd like to have this. I'd like to have this cloak and then go bat and then like transform into a bat.
Can we just do a goofy ass campaign?
Bat! I'm a bat.
Everyone gets to start off the campaign with 1 legendary item.
Sure.
That would be very fun.
That would be fun. Okay. Any who's in.
Moving
Let's
on.
roll with it. Because
Wait.
we're only halfway through this episode.
No, we're not.
Oh, we're not even there yet?
No,
of
you
course
have to-
not. We have 2 more questions. I have lost all sense of how far into this episode we are or how long this episode is even going to be.
We'll try to
All
be
right.
more concise.
Jesus. All right.
Moving on.
What are some signs you should find another group?
Oh, we're moving on to interpersonal questions, everybody.
Interpersonal questions.
Some signs, and I really gotta downshift my noggin.
Yeah.
Some signs you should probably find another group. If communication between group members sucks.
Yeah.
And like, I don't mean sucks in like they're really forgetful. I mean in like they are not clear about communicating. They don't care about each other's like experience. People are standoffish or mean. If you're just in a group with mean people, I think that's a really nice sign to probably.
That's a pretty good sign.
Also, it could also be like a mismatch of personalities. Like sometimes you might join a table and you're like, oh no, like my vibe just doesn't gel with these people. And it's not, it has nothing to do with you except for the fact that you just probably wouldn't be friends like outside of this. So that would probably be an indicator too.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is some nuance in this. Signs you should find another group. If you're not having fun,
I think,
if you're not having fun, you should probably find another group.
Yeah.
If you like are dreading going to sessions, you should probably find another group. If you go and you're like, this one person makes this unfun, find another group. But I say that with a grain of salt, right? Because like friends can push buttons. Like that's a thing that can happen.
Yep.
So I say that with a grain of salt in that like there might be sessions that we play that I come away going, that wasn't my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean I need to find another group for that.
Yeah.
So I think you have to know what your threshold is. And if it's like consistently not fun, there's probably something to look at there.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not sure if it's any deeper than that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if once you go past that, that's when you start getting into like what I said at the top, which was like communication and like being rude to each other. Like those things generally are not fun and already. Right. So I think if you start at the top of the funnel with, am I still having fun? I think you'll be able to answer yourself pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think the thing that I've mentioned before on this podcast that I think is worth just like a pretty frequent reminder is that this is a game. Mm-hmm. And I never mean that in a way that is reductive.
Yeah.
But what I do mean is when you think of the word game, you think of like a social fun thing, right? Generally speaking. Yeah. And so if it's not those things anymore, then something's gone awry.
Yeah.
And you might find fun to be strategic, cerebral. Like I'm thinking of a game my dad would like, is one that requires strategy, is one that is intellectual, versus one that some of our friends might like is like less strategic and more emotional. And so like your definition of fun matters, and it's a game that should be fun.
Yeah.
So if you're with a group that is either mean, putting you down or whatever, like that's one version of unfun. But this version of unfun might also be, I want a game that's more strategic. And that's not what this is. And so I don't want to play with this group anymore because it's not the type of game that I like to play. Anyway, so I don't think it needs to be much deeper than, is this fun or not? But you just need to know what fun means to you.
Yeah. I would agree.
To pair along with that, how does someone who played a campaign or two, but whose group has gotten busy and moved on, find new people to play D&D with?
I think that we can answer this similarly to how we talked about, like, how do I join a group of my friends that are already playing? Like,
Yeah.
some of it is start looking for where those types of people play, where those friends play. If it's a group that's gotten busy and moved on, I would maybe start with some of those people you were already playing with and say, hey, I know this group has gotten busy, but do you still want to play a game? Or can we maybe start a different one that we could all make time for differently? So if it's just shifting like your time and like shifting the commitment, that might easily either respark the group that you play with or could respark like a different campaign entirely. I think one of the reasons I think we wanted to do this, and I think when we were playing in our main campaign that Sam DMs, at one point TJ really wanted to get into like learning how to DM and practice with that. And so he had asked me and Caitie and Sam if we would want to do a secondary campaign, a lot less time, like commitment. And we don't meet frequently at all, but it is an example of branching off, starting a different group so that you can try out other venues as well.
I would also say that this is an opportunity for you to pull more people in. Sure. So like I'm thinking of myself, if our group sort of disbanded because of life and stuff like that, and I was really itching to play, I could just like find a smaller subset of the group we play with because our group is fairly large. Yep. Or I could go to some of my other friends who don't play and say like, hey,
this is your time.
You guys know that I play D&D. My like last campaign is over and I'm kind of looking for another thing to do. Would you guys be interested in learning how to play? Yeah. And maybe it's not, your full length campaign that you're used to. Maybe it's like a one shot. And that probably means that you have to be like chill being the DM, right? Or the game master of whatever you're playing. Yeah. But that maybe is another opportunity. So to tie back to the question we had, I think it was our first time doing this Ask the Roses, which is like, is there a code word? How do I find people to play with?
Yes, that is the question.
I think this could be an opportunity for you to invite more people into the hobby.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very good.
Shall we roll with it?
Yeah, now let's roll with it, baby.
Do you still have your dice there?
I do.
The one that you rolled? Why don't you roll so I don't have to pull up D&D Beyond?
15.
Okay.
I like this D20.
I don't think we've had this before. All of these, there's a point in time when these all start to sound sort of familiar.
Which table are we on?
Would you rather D&D?
Would you rather D&D?
The question is, what monster or creature would you rather have as a pet in game? Have we said that one before? I don't think so.
Think so. I feel like this is a question that we've either discussed personally.
Sure.
Or
I'm usually pretty good about like crossing them off once we've done them, but every once in a while I've forgotten.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what monster or creature would you rather have as a pet in D&D?
Oh, there's so many. I think there are two obvious ones that would be so fun. I would love an owlbear. I mean, who wouldn't? They're you joking, like big guy. But also a displacer beast, but like having it like from a kitten to an adult displacer beast would be so wild and cool. But so like the one that's not as obvious, I was like, oh yeah, there are those. There are like fairy dragons that are just like teeny beanie dragons that have like fairy wings. Yeah. I think they're from the Feywilds, but like that would be so cool to just have a little fairy dragon that like hangs out with you.
This would not be my pet. Let me be very clear. Okay. We would be
partners.
Peers. Yeah. And it's just a dragon.
I see. Because dragon's sentient. Because dragon do what want.
And yeah, dragon could eat me. So, and I am fully aware of that. So, we are, this is not, yeah, we are in a collaborative partnership.
Symbiotic relationship, if you will.
Yeah. It would be dragon for sure.
That's really cool. Yeah. That was fairly easy for us.
Yeah, a quick one. A little quick one.
It's cute though. I like that. Oh man, but what if there were like different breeds? Maybe there are like different breeds of owl bears, and some of them are like, oh yeah, that's my miniature owl bear, like mini labradoodle.
I'm sure there are not many owl bears. I think there are baby owl bears, but I don't think D&D has mini owl bears.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, we are moving on to our second half of the episode. We're going to start off with some character-driven questions that we got. For our first question, we have, what skills or techniques that you've learned as performers help you roleplay at the table?
This is going to seem really obvious, but as a dancer, I talk about this with my students quite a bit. Which is like, if you don't vibe, I'm going to say exactly what I say to my students first, and then I'll contextualize it.
Got it.
If you don't vibe with a type of dance, so you're getting ready for recital or whatever, and like this dance is not your cup of tea, that's okay, but you're going to put on a character, and that character, this is the cup of tea that they enjoy. So it like, because a lot of times with recital dances, well, I won't say a lot of times, with the types of recital dances that we do, they're somewhat character driven. And sometimes the style is, this year we're doing a mystery manner, so it's like a little spooky. And so there are some dances that are like monster based, and as you get older, that you can't just rely on like, I'm a cute monster. Like you have to like put on a persona.
Facade, yeah.
Yeah, that looks intimidating or scary or whatever. And most of the time it's the like middle school aged kids that will be like, I don't really like that. That feels cringy to me, which I'm so sick of that word. I cannot even begin to tell you. But they think it's cringy. And so it's too cringe. I can't do it. So I talk to them about putting on a character and just like pretending like you are this thing instead of it being Caitie who is trying to be intimidating. It's this character that's being intimidating. So to contextualize that, the reason I think that is helpful for role playing is to separate yourself from the character.
Yeah.
So it's not Caitie trying to be intimidating. It's Tanuvial or Kishara or whatever trying to be intimidating. And allowing that separation of self, one from the aspect of not allowing bleed to be a thing that I deal with, but also so that it doesn't feel cringy when I try to do something
make a choice
that
as
is
your character,
out of character for myself.
Yeah, I like that. I would agree with that because it feels like, I mean, you're putting a veil between yourself and your character, and that's a really good way to use your performer experience. I think as I was listening to you and as I was kind of thinking through it, I actually started thinking of like less role play and more like during combat at the table. And I think something that performing and theater has taught me like at large is that, like, for lack of a better phrase, like we're all in this together. And there's a lot of like, there's this reinforcement on teamwork when I do shows or when I perform is, you know, no one person can just get up there and carry the entire show.
Right.
Like it's a team effort. And I guess you can apply that to role playing as well. Like no one person can sit there and monologue a role play session. Like this is about all of us friends coming together, telling a cool story, having a good time. And theater is basically the same thing, just on a really big scale. And it's rehearsed and overproduced compared to like time at your D&D table. But that's one of the things that I love most about theater. And I think why I'm drawn to D&D and role playing is that it's a team collaborative game and effort that we make together. So
yeah,
that would be my answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Is it worth trying to tailor a character to the backstory of the quest to maximize their benefit, or to pick a random character and skills and just play the game and see what happens?
Yeah. So there's like, I think a couple different things happening within the question.
Yeah.
So tailoring the character to the backstory of the quest to maximize their benefit within the quest is what I'm like putting that together, or picking just like a random person that has no
and drop them
strings to what's going on and dropping them in and letting them happen. Okay. Yeah. So in a typical campaign, you're not doing simply one quest, right? There's like multiple things going on there. So if I'm going to speak from that perspective and say, instead of tying your character to the backstory of the quest, I'm going to say tying your character to the backstory of the like world, the setting, the campaign. And in that sense, I think you set yourself up to have more fun, to be more bought in if your character is tied to the world that they're living in.
Yeah.
Versus if you just do a random dude who does random things and it lives in the world and that's how they're connected to the world. You're going to have to do more heavy lifting as the player to figure out why your character gives a hoot about what the quest is, what the campaign is.
Yeah. I don't think that I like can add much more to that except for like echo it. It's just, it's a difference in, do you want to feel connected and excited about the world you're playing around in? Or do you want to, give yourself more work in the long run?
I would, can I, dear listener, interest you in our very important backstory worksheet? It provides you with hooks, and you can decide how hooked your character is into the campaign and the setting. But I would recommend that they are not unhooked from the campaign in any way. So maybe they're only hooked by this one thing, but that one thing needs to be sort of important to you.
Yeah.
So, to your character, so that it like is enough of a hook to keep them started. I mean, think about it from a like storytelling perspective, right? If you were opening a book and this main character, because that is what your character is, like all of the player characters are the main characters of this story. So if you opened a book and the main character had no hooks to the story at large, what?
If they had no hooks to the story at large and they were just dropped in, do you know what that is? That's an isekai. That's an anime trope where a player gets dropped in, they have no hooks, but like what you see in those shows, they have to do a ton of work to figure out what's going on. So like that can work for like an anime storytelling if you're writing it yourself. Maybe you get involved in a campaign where they're like, no, we're going to focus the whole story on this player and we're going to drop them in. But I feel like that is a very unique situation that probably won't always work.
Yeah, I kind of think about like how your character fits into the puzzle that is this campaign. What do they bring to it?
Yeah.
If the answer is nothing, You know, like just like how that sounds. If the answer is nothing, if the answer is they are okay, I could see an option. If your character is simply muscle, maybe they're not tied into the campaign, like the story, the quest. They're like, I don't really care about this, but I am strong and can hit the guys you need me to hit. I'm a hired hand.
Yeah.
Cool. But there needs to be a character arc, at least in my opinion. There should be a character arc in your character that makes them care. It's like the anti-hero situation, right? Like, I don't give a shit about any of this, but I'm here. And so then slowly they, you know, become drawn to these people they're spending time with. They care about these people suddenly, and that's their hook, you know.
I think when, like, if you end up playing a character and let's say like they have no hooks and they don't care and you are just muscle and you just keep playing that way, I think that kind of character can be where you start to poorly communicate with your other teammates. You start to feel disconnected from the campaign. You start to get like frustrated with certain things when they don't go a certain way. And that's when it's time to find a new group. Like you start working your way towards that. Oh, maybe I should just play something else.
I'm thinking about a type of player that is not here to be emotionally moved.
Sure.
I'm thinking about maybe in our archetypes, they fall into a lurker scenario. But even then, I'm not sure that's quite what I'm describing. It's not so much that they don't want to be involved, but so much that the like character growth is not
important to them. Yeah.
Even still, like trying to put myself in that perspective, this is a fun, silly game. It's not that deep. Yep. You're not interested in emotional, you know, movement.
Yeah.
Still think about like truly like a story. And it's not an emotionally deep story, but the character needs to be motivated in some way.
Yeah.
In order for that story to be interesting.
And to like move at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if we're not talking about like taking this game super, super seriously.
Yeah.
Your character needs to have some sort of motivation. It's not, D&D is not a video game where that stuff is just like going to happen.
Yeah.
And also it's not a Mortal Kombat or something like that where it's just like hitting things.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it is a collaborative storytelling game. And you're trying to tell a story, even if that story is short, even if that story is not emotionally deep, it is a story. So a random character with random skills and just like playing the game and seeing what happens, it's possible. And I'm going to guess that over time, your motivation and stuff develops because that's like a necessary part of the story part of the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was probably more intense than I needed to get. But I was thinking about like, I could see people who are new to the game.
Yeah.
Not necessarily being like, okay, I'm going to make my personality D&D and wanting something a little bit more lighthearted. And I think even still there's motivation there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so to round out this episode, we have a couple of miscellaneous type questions that we really couldn't fit in a bucket. So I'm going to start it off with what would a D&D/manga anime mashup look like? And it's literally Frieren. It's literally Delicious in Dungeon.
The other one I said was Solo Leveling, I think, was also in there.
And I think with Solo Leveling, what's cool is that you get to see so much more of the actual like level up portion. Like I get this skill and I get this ability to be improved and all of that. Yeah, I literally think it would be
Any of those, really.
Any of those, really. I'm sure there are more. I'm sure there are more that I just haven't seen, but those are the 3 that I have like watched all the way through.
Right.
And I highly recommend Delicious and Dungeon and Free Run. I semi-recommend Solo Leveling.
I like solo leveling.
It took me a really long time to like get invested in the main character, but maybe I need to read the manga instead and see if that like changes how I like the story. But once we got past like the 4th episode, I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm here.
I don't think we've finished it, but the more recent season that's come out, we started watching. It's like a kind of easy, interesting combat art show. Like, it's not here, at least for me, it's not here for like deep emotional connection. It's here for
it is like a here for a good time.
I'm gonna hit him hard. Look at me hit.
This skill improved. Ooh, I got this item.
Yeah
Like, and I do really like how I like the world building in Solo Leveling a lot.
The thing that I'll say about that is the mystery is, why is there a leveling system?
Why do I have these interfaces floating in front of my face?
Yeah.
Anyway. So I would recommend any of those. All right, last question, and then we will finish this episode. What is a D&D player trope that you hate? And conversely, like, what is a D&D campaign trope that you hate? Am I going to put my eggs in that basket? Yeah, I guess I'll put my eggs in that basket. I think a player trope I hate is, like, player/character who is just stupid. Like, stupid to, like, it's not even funny stupid. It's just stupid consistently. That's it. I'm gonna have to think a little bit more. This is kind of hard.
D&D player trope that I dislike. This is maybe just more nerd trope. Just like the stereotypical nerd. Oh no, I've got a better one.
Oh, she got it.
A D&D player trope that I hate. And this is like perceived from outside of D&D. This is not like D&D player to D&D player. This is like people who don't know about D&D thinking about D&D.
Oh, okay. It's like a stereotype.
Yes. I hate when people think that it's like role playing as in a sexual act.
Oh, yeah.
That really pisses me off.
Yeah, they're like, you role play. Like, the only time I hear that word is when people are talking about sex.
Yeah,
and you're like,
it drives me nuts. And if my visceral reaction is any sign, I have literally received that from individuals in my life. It is the most annoying thing.
I agree.
And I think this is where I was going before. Is this like, oh, you play D&D? It's just like at this point, D&D is so mainstream that it drives me nuts that there are people that exist that are like,
nerds,
that's stupid, or oh, you must be weird and kinky.
Yeah.
I'm just like okay.
No, there are so many more like. Sure, there are people who play D&D who are those things, and there are plenty who are not.
Yeah, just like it. Those are
so
two
much
things,
more intersection than that.
Those are two things that I have received within the last 5 years from individuals and it's like the kind of we've talked about this in one of our really early episodes. What it's like playing D&D in Nebraska, I think, was the show that the episode that we talked about this on. It's mostly from work individuals who are generally older than me, and honestly, mostly females who are trying to be like, I'm better than you. We're trying to play a game here. And it's just so irritating. And it's like under the guise of like, okay, let's get to know each other. Let's share about our hobbies. And then
no, you don't want to know me.
I say I usually lead with something like really superficial. Just like, I like to watch this TV show. But in the last 5 years, I had tried to like own this like nerdy side of things because it's been more mainstream lately. And I say that, and then the like 50-year-old dried up, I'm saying this because I don't work there anymore, dried
Raisin.
up raisin of a human who isn't interested in anything except her looks and drinking
Wine. Okay.
looks at me and goes, oh. I think I said this in that episode, and it's just been so long since I've talked about it that is resurfacing.
And now it's resurfacing.
Emotions about it, but she's like, at least you accept that about yourself.
Like,
and
what?
I'm just like, okay.
Oh, that is so unhinged and rude. I guess here's the other. Sorry, this is becoming a tangent, but flip the scenario.
Okay.
And the answers I get in some of those like questions or like meetings like that, like, let's get to know each other, tell us what you like. And like 9 times out of 10, get a bunch of people who are like, I don't know, I like watching sports. I like this random mainstream show. And like, imagine me, a nerd, like being like, okay. I'm so glad you accept that about yourself. Sports,
right.
Like, right. I make so much like concession and understanding and like acceptance of other people's interests. Well, I think you can do the same for others.
At that particular meeting, I mean, they were also like talking about how their husbands play too many video games and how they like control how many. They're like, I don't let him buy any video games. Like, I don't let him do that. And I'm just like, imagine being in a relationship where you controlled your other partner and what they liked or did not like.
I don't work with these people anymore, but I had a few coworkers that were like that. And so every time they would bring up like, they like play video games all the time and they never make time for me. I literally like, I can't relate because like we play plenty of games, whether it be D&D or like Teedge plays video games. And you want to know my partner still makes time for me because we communicate.
That's a different problem.
We don't withhold communicating.
It's not that he plays video games. That's the problem. It's that you guys don't talk.
And that is on you.
it's that you guys don't have the infrastructure of your relationship built up to be able to communicate with your partner when you are feeling particularly in need of their partnership and their support.
And so you lash out
to be able to communicate.
That you say is taking time away from you.
Or you married somebody who's emotionally immature and is not interested in supporting you emotionally. And that's a different problem than him playing video games.
Yes. The first, TJ is going to love listening to this episode. One of the first and only video game argument debates TJ and I got in was when we were first married. And I personally had some growing up to do. I had an experience where I was like, I literally said, and I regret these words and now they're on the internet, but like just some transparency. I said like, what's even the point? Like, why even play those games? And I said that knowing full well that I like video games and that I like other games and I have plenty of reasons for liking them. And I was just hurt and I wasn't actually saying what was wrong.
Right.
So maybe we're not actually answering this person's question anymore, but I hate the trope where people assume that D&D is weird and only kinky and sexual, and also communicate with your loved ones.
Yeah. Quit blaming video games for your relationship problems. Go see a therapist.
Yes.
Anyway, what's a D&D campaign trope that we hate?
Well, shoot. We said that, and then I thought of another player trope that I hate.
Oh, okay. What's a player trope that you hate?
I am so down, and I think it is so silly when there is a character that just tries to romance everybody, but I think there's a threshold. Like, So once like that, I don't know what that threshold is, just like talking about it conversely, but like when it's gone too far, when that's all that character does, I take back the dumb statement. You can be dumb and have a ton of fun and be silly. But I think with both, it's maybe just don't cross the threshold of like, okay, this is overkill.
It's like single faceted characters. When that's all your character does, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I think we've also talked about like players that come in just mad goofing all the time. And it's like that again, it's like know when the bit is over. Know when the bit's done.
Let the bit be done.
Yeah.
And like enjoy, don't smile, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened.
Yeah, right.
Campaign trope that we hate.
I don't think I have any.
That's what I'm thinking right now. I don't know that I have any.
I think there's a lot of tropes that have their time and place. And so if it's like not, maybe my least favorite story trope is when they're without intention. Like when you're just doing it to do it.
Yeah.
But if it makes story sense, then I'm down.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of we know who asked this question. Caden, you tell us. What's your
least favorite?
What campaign trope do you hate? And just like drop it in the comments, my guy.
Maybe that'll trigger us to have an opinion.
Maybe then we'll have an opinion. Because right now,
I mean, like, I guess kind of like the tavern start is like a really
that's
normal
that is a trope.
Story trope that's just kind of like
you
overused.
All meet at a tavern.
Yeah. Or a guild hall, like all meeting at the guild hall is kind of overused.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that, I don't know, it becomes foundational, like less than trope to me. However, like I've seen campaigns start differently. Like TJ started a campaign he's running with some of his friends right now in like it's a hotel or it's a like a lodging for like researchers, and they've all like booked a room in this lodging for like a test. And so there's like a communal space where they all like run into each other for the first time while they're doing their research.
Yeah. And I mean, like we started our campaign in a guild hall, but it didn't feel quite so stereotypical. It felt like it made sense for the story. You know what I mean? Like, so like even that I'm like down for if it makes sense with the story that's being played. But I don't like forced tropes. I don't like forced scenarios because that's what I'm supposed to do. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that.
Yeah. I'll be interested to hear yours, Caden. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure, brother.
For sure.
That's it for us this week. Thanks for spending time with us today, and thanks to Noah Trumbull for the use of our theme song. There's a link to his Instagram in the episode description, so be sure to give him a follow. Stay up to date on his band and music. Katie.
Thank you, Soren. If you are enjoying the show, there are a few things that we would appreciate it if you would do. You could leave us a review. That would help other listeners find us. Hit us up in the comments. Tell us about your thoughts on the episode or if you're enjoying the show. You can also follow us wherever you get your podcasts. So that's on Spotify, Apple Music. I looked it up the other day. We're also on Audible. So fun fact. So you can find us there, or you could find us on YouTube. And if you do that, you can see our faces when we talk. Lastly, you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We were once very active. We are less active now, but you will find out about episode drops. And then maybe someday when Soren and I aren't strapped for time, we can pick up our social media activity again someday.
Because this is a 3-person show, friends, and 3 people can only do so much and have full-time jobs and be busy.
And several other part-time jobs. Anyway, Soren?
We also want to hear from you. So if something came up in today's conversation that made you think, or if you have a topic that you'd like to hear next, or if you just want to say hi, you can send us emails at chromaroses@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to respond as quickly as we can. That's CHROMAROSCS@gmail.com. That's all lowercase, and we can't wait to hear from you.
This has been Chromatic Roses. I'm Caitie.
And I'm Soren. Mommy those hobbies.
Okay, love you. Bye.